This video will be focusing on the Oppo Reno 6 Pro, which is the hero model of the series. Oppo is heavily promoting its new bokeh video feature, which is said to simulate the kind of soft background blur you can get when using a narrow aperture lens on a DSLR or mirrorless camera. Along with this, the Reno 6 Pro retains a lot of the features that made the Reno 5 Pro 5G great. However, we now have some very stiff competition, so can the Reno 6 Pro keep up? The Oppo Reno 6 Pro is only available in one configuration, just like its predecessor, but Oppo has doubled the storage and increased the RAM. This new model comes with 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage. The latter is not expandable, as the SIM tray can only accommodate 2 nano SIM cards. Oppo has not messed about with the design of the Reno 6 Pro too much, and it looks strikingly similar to the Reno 5 Pro 5G. It's the same thickness as the older model at 7.6 mm, although the weight has gone up a bit, 177 grams. The chrome-lined frame and the curved front and back look very nice. There's Corning Gorilla Glass 5 over the display, while the glass at the back gets a special treatment, giving it a matte finish with a shimmering crystal-like appearance. The Aurora color that I have looks very pretty, and this phone is also available in a stellar black trim. The Oppo Reno 6 Pro is one of the slimmest and lightest phones in its class, and has the looks to go with that. The display is well-spec'd too. It's a 6.5-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED panel with a 90 Hz refresh rate, HDR10 Plus playback certification, and a 180 Hz touch sampling rate. One of the biggest upgrades to the Oppo Reno 6 Pro is the new MediaTek Dimensity 1200 Society. Games ran very well too. Despite the slim body, the back of the phone never got overly hot even after extended gaming sessions. I found the battery life of the Reno 6 Pro to be pretty solid too. I was easily able to get about a day and a half of use, which involved lots of video watching and checking social apps. This phone runs the company's latest version of ColorOS 11.3, which is very similar in form and function to the version we tested on the Reno 5 Pro 5G, v11.1. The camera setup on the Oppo Reno 6 Pro is pretty much identical to that of the Reno 5 Pro, except for the new Bokeh Flare Portrait filter, which is fun and works well. Living with the Oppo Reno 6 Pro during the review period was great. It was barely noticeable in my pocket thanks to its low weight, and this also makes for more comfortable one-handed usage. The fingerprint sensor is quick at authentication, but what's even quicker is face recognition. The latter works well even in low light. Games ran very well too. Despite the slim body, the back of the phone never got overly hot even after extended gaming sessions. Heavy titles ran such as Asphalt 9. Legends ran perfectly fine with consistent frame rates. In most games that I tried, the display refresh rate dropped to 60 Hz, but some, such as Brawl Stars, ran at 90 Hz. The display also got very bright, which made games feel very immersive. Videos looked great too, including HDR content, although stereo sound would have made the viewing experience even better. There's a 64-megapixel primary camera with an f1.7 aperture, an 8-megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 2-megapixel macro camera, and a 2-megapixel monochrome camera. For selfies, you get a 32-megapixel front camera. The main rear camera still does not have any kind of optical stabilization, and neither do we have a telephoto camera as an upgrade. The main selling point of the cameras this time is the Bokeh Flare Portrait filter, which you can activate when shooting videos. It does a good job of isolating the subject. It works best on people from the background even if you move around slightly. Even the smallest light source in the background is heavily defocused, which creates shimmering patches of light. This works even during the day, for example if you have scattered sunlight coming through trees in the background. You can use this with the rear and front cameras. It's a fun little filter that works well.